Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines, but most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals on this show, because at the end of the day, you guys, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve. So you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Let's see here. Corey Buchan, happy Monday, everybody. He's on YouTube. John Radvansky, the Rad Man, is back in the house. Happy Monday, everyone. He's also over on YouTube. I go live on YouTube, you guys, LinkedIn and Facebook. And yeah, so if you guys are ever on those other platforms, I've been told that there's some stream quality that is exponentially better compared to the other ones out there. Also, you guys, we have a weekly newsletter that we release. Again, I believe in earning everything. Like I don't auto sign up everybody's everybody who's in my contact list onto my stuff and everything, because I truly don't want to bombard people with stuff. But we release it every single Wednesday. If you do want to register for it, it's over on the freightcoach.com. Just go to my website and it will auto prompt you to sign up. Again, I believe in earning everybody's subscription and download and likes and all of that. So it's like, if you want to join in on that, it's growing quick. And you can just go to my website, thefreightcoach.com, to check it out. Clark Wellman, go Bucks. Love you too, man. And Sydney Thiessen, good morning to you. They're both over on YouTube. And yeah, Clark, I will say this, man. Wisconsin definitely looked pretty worn out. You can the difference between a top 5 team and a non-top 5 team was definitely on full display on Saturday at Camp Randall. But so today's show is going to be a lot bit different than what we normally talk about on here. And so something I actually started doing here recently, probably about 4 or 5 weeks ago now, is every single Sunday, I don't go on social media at all. Outside of creating my live show announcement for Monday, I don't go on social media. I've been taking that as a weekly break. And I mean, it's been fantastic. And if you haven't done that, I would challenge everybody out there to just go 24 hours, or you're not even 24 hours, just go a full day from when you wake up to when you go to bed on one day during the week, no social media at all. It's amazing how less toxic your life can be for those 24 hours, because it's like, nonstop. It's just one thing after another. And, frankly, I think a lot of that's by design, is just to bombard people with it. But it's like, very rarely do you have time to think, right? Very rarely do you have time for you, because in today's day and age, it's text messages, it's phone calls, it's social media. And I'm fortunate to be in that age range where, like, I grew up where, the internet kind of wasn't a thing, at least in rural Wisconsin. And social media wasn't a thing until I was in college. I didn't even have a cell phone until I was like a junior in high school, because like they just weren't widespread. It's just widespread, and they used to be extremely expensive. And I was from a working class family. So like I had a portion of my life where like it wasn't a constant bombardment. I remember when I was younger, like I used to write letters in the mail to my crushes when I was in elementary school and shit like that. So, the way that we're living now it's just not like, to me, it's just not healthy at times. And I think everybody needs to take a day or two a month and do that. And what kind of spawned this is I went on my Instagram one day, and I knew that there was a time spent app out there, or on the Instagram thing, and I pulled up my time spent, and it was like almost 2 hours an average a day on Instagram. And I'm like, holy fuck, that is so much wasted time out there. So, anyways, I started doing that. And I started, taking my days to kind of just A, unwind, and then B, just like actually start to think a little bit like, what direction should I go with the show? How do I kind of change things up a little bit? But most importantly, how do I put some content out there that I feel like could benefit people? And, I don't talk about a lot of stuff in my personal life because I do like to kind of keep that part of my life, personal. I don't really talk about my family all that often and things that go along behind the scenes because, like, again, I love everybody that listens to the show and stuff, but just like you guys, there's some things that I want to kind of keep to me. But one thing that I've been starting to kind of talk about a little bit more here in the coming or like the previous few months is controlling your controllables, right? And for the longest time, the overwhelming majority of my life, I drank a lot. I'm not up here trying to boast to say like, oh, I could out drink everybody under the table, but like I drank a lot more than most people. And it started. I think I had my first drink when I was 12 years old, and I my son's 13 now, and it's crazy to think about that. And that's when I kind of got my first exposure to it. And growing up in Wisconsin, where I did, drinking is like it's a thing, like it's a badge of honor out there about how many beers you can drink in a day and stuff like that. So, fast forward, I damn near drank every week from 16 to 34. And from 21 to 34, it was pretty much every fucking day of the week is when, that I did. And I just, when I started my business, I kind of had my first revelation into sobriety, where I was just like, I knew myself and I knew like, as some like when I sit here and say like I don't have any other money besides like left besides what I have wrapped up into this business, you guys, like I'm not bullshitting. Like I don't have a 401k. Like I took everything that I've made in my life and have poured it in to making this stuff work. And when I started everything, I told myself at that moment, I'm like, all right, I'm not going to drink because I know myself. And I went cold turkey. And I said, because I know that if I win, I'm going to drink. And then I know if I'm going to have bad days, I'm going to drink. And, when you're starting out anything new, the bad days are, pretty frequent, because you don't know what's going on. You're kind of figuring everything out. You're building your own systems, and there is no routine. There is no structure. You have to create it. And I knew that I knew I wasn't going to be able to function at what I needed to do. And then frankly, I didn't want to piss away this opportunity because, the failure rate in business is extremely high. And I didn't want to look back and be like, damn, I shouldn't have done that, like, and especially if it was alcohol related. So I went sober for like a year and then I started back up again and I started drinking again. And it was always the Friday afternoon, Saturday. And, I thought that it was okay. And I went to one of the trade shows in the industry, and I got pretty tuned up at it. And it was, that was the last time I actually drank at an industry trade show is because I was like, fortunately I was around some friends of mine. So nothing got out of hand, nothing got stupid, but like I woke up hungover in my hotel room the next morning and I'm like, why am I fucking doing this? Like, this is my one shot, this is my one opportunity to make this work. And that got close. So, I started to refuse all of that. And then that's when I did my first round of 75 hard was back in 2022. And, that was the starting point to a lot of this stuff, but it was also the starting point to, some of the pretty serious health issues that I started having back in 2022. And to kind of speed up a few years, back in 2023, it was December of 2022, excuse me, and early 2023 is when I told myself like, hey, I should stop. Like I stayed sober on New Year's of 2022 going into 2023. And then I had like 4 drinks. It was January 25th of 2023. I had 4 drinks at my house, and I was just like, what the fuck am I doing here? So that was actually the last day that I've had a sip of alcohol. So I've been sober now for, 18, 19 months or whatever that is. And fortunately, I made that decision because 60 days later, I went through some of the biggest health scares of my life. I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease at in March of 2023. I had had back issues and stuff for a very long time, and I went into the doctor because I honestly thought something like I felt my body attacking itself. So like I said, I had had back issues for a long time, and I at that time I looked at my wife and I said, "Babe, we got to go to the hospital. Like something's wrong. Something's very wrong." And I thought it was just stress related at the moment, but we started doing tests and fucking MRIs, and I've had more blood work done in the last time than I had, in the last 18, 15 months than I had in the previous 37 years of my life. But long story short, it came down that I have an autoimmune disease called ankylosing spondylitis, and essentially my spine is fusing is what it leads to, and then it also leads to heart disease, heart failure, and a bunch of shit. But I when I was sitting there and talking to the doctor after we were going through everything, I'm like, all right, well, how do I fix this? How do I minimize the symptoms? How do I do that? And a lot of it, ironically, is keeping inflammation down. And if you've ever woke up after a hearty night of partying, you know how your body feels the following day. You're extremely dehydrated, all of that stuff. And dehydration leads to inflammation and yada, yada, yada. So again, in a roundabout way, it was, I didn't realize it at the time, but I'm like, damn, I literally told myself, not even 60 days prior that I'm never having alcohol ever again. And then here we are 60 days later, and I'm sitting there in a doctor's office, and the doctor's telling me, like, hey, we're not going to tell you probably shouldn't drink, but you should probably never drink ever again. And I'm like, well, damn, that's an easy one. So boom, I took care of that. And that was like like I didn't realize it at the time, but like getting this was like the greatest blessing ever. It really was, because it was it got me sober. B, it also was the thing that pushed me over the edge to get my health back in order. Just like I just like a lot of people, I went through those phases where it was, oh, I'm gonna get healthy, and then I lose a bunch of weight, and then I'd gain it all back, and then I'd lose weight, and then I'd gain it all back. And this was the one where I'm just like, all right, it's time, it's done. I gotta start and I gotta go for it. So I took some time in late 2023, because I was still going in and out of the doctors, and there was a bunch of other tests that they were running, because a lot of this stuff is they got to rule out a bunch of shit. And yeah, so we found out what it was, and then we found a training mechanism that I could do. But a big thing is it's keeping your inflammation down, but it's keeping your body weight down, and then not necessarily pounds, but more of like body fat. So at the beginning of 2024. So obviously I do live hard, or I do 75 hard, which it's a free program. Just Google it, go to find it out, do your own research on it. But I'm a massive proponent of the program because it fits into all of everybody's life. And then there's a year-long thing called Live Hard, and that's what I'm doing this year. I told myself I'm going to complete Live Hard this year. Again, I'm 38 years old, and I'm going to get into the best shape of my life, which I'm already there, but like there's still work to do. There's still improvements to do from that, because a big thing is keeping my body fat low. And so that's where I'm getting down to is I'm going to be at 10% body fat, and I'm going to remain there. And then a lot of this again, it's down to controlling your controllables. And as somebody who was obese and drunk for the overwhelming majority of my life, it was a very insurmountable task at the beginning, right? Just like with anything, everything seems out of control and out of hand right away, but you learn to adapt and you learn to change and you learn to kind of move forward with a lot of it. So, the first thing I did, and like unlike some other people outs like yeah, I had my kind of my moment, but I didn't have like a rock bottom moment, which kind of scares me knowing like what I was doing at that point. But like I never really had that rock bottom moment, but I had that moment that I decided to fucking take control of my life. And you know, I was thinking a lot about this yesterday about like, ultimately I don't like talking about my personal life very often, but I also know that there are other people out there that struggle with alcohol, they struggle with addiction, and whether it's food or other things. And hopefully somebody can, get a little bit of benefit out of this today. So, for me, I really adopted the one day at a time mentality is where I've really started. Going down to, right? And this is where 75 Hard and the Live Hard program ties in because it's really controlling your day is really what it is. And when shit gets really hard, it's just controlling that next task at hand. And if you've ever gotten sober, if you've ever gotten in shape, that it's some of the hardest shit you're gonna do from a mental standpoint because you always want to go back to the food, you want to go back to the booze, you want to go back to all of that because that was the easy route. And then frankly, I drank as much as I did for as long as I did is because I was just masking my own insecurities of not living up to the potential that I know I had, and most importantly, the potential that God blessed me with. Um, and so now that I've gotten on this, and because again, I'm 10 months into like really being committed to this. This isn't anything other than giving kind of like an update of where I am today and what I'm doing currently, right? So I really kind of follow the building the routine aspect of things. I do the same shit like literally every single day, all day long because I know what works for me, and this is only what works for me. And I like for a lot of it, I weigh out my own food. All right, so I got into that habit of like, all right, I got to get my macros dialed in because, like, again, if you're going to completely reshape everything, I didn't know where to start, and I didn't know kind of what to do. So the first thing I did was I bought a food scale and I just started weighing shit out and I started uploading it into a MyFitnessPal app, just to kind of see like where the hell am I at? What do I do? And so I started doing that. And this is, I'm kind of jumping around the timeline here, but to put it into context, 5 years ago, I was 250 pounds and I've been at 185 to 190 for the last 2 years now. So I've kept off about 60 to 65 pounds with this method. All right. And again, like when it comes down to my workouts, which I'll talk about here in a second, but like when I started kind of losing weight and getting that in I was just weighing out my food every single day. I didn't even know what the fuck I was weighing out. I just put in, a bunch of rice and some fucking meat into a bowl. And I just started weighing that out. And then I just started loading things up into MyFitnessPal. And I realized like, holy shit, I'm eating a lot more than I thought I was. So then, I started following some people on social media. I follow Nick Bear. He has Bear Performance Nutrition. I follow the entire First Form team that's essentially out there, and that's another great resource for all of you guys. And they're 75 Hard is different from First Form, but Andy Frisella is the founder of 75 Hard and First Form. First Form has a phenomenal resource tool for everybody to use out there. But so I just started with one meal. All right. So when I started doing it, I started with one meal and I cleaned up my lunch and I ate steamed rice and like ground beef and stuff like that. And then I started to, I lost a little bit of weight with that. And then I started in other meals as well. And, to me, the best investment anybody can make is a food scale. And to kind of find that out, and then also finding your macros and finding your balance on what you actually need in a day. And again, it's a lot of trial and error. All right. And it takes a lot of time to kind of figure this out. But I've found out how my body performs in a better way based on the macros and stuff that I eat. And, maybe I'll post some of the meals that I eat, but I essentially eat the exact same foods every single day. And now that has a lot to do with the autoimmune disease that I have, because like I can't eat sugar anymore, because sugar, imagine getting stabbed in all of your joints. That's what sugar feels like to me when I consume it now. So I don't eat sugar, or very, very, very small sugar content foods that are out there. I had to go gluten free as well, because gluten is a major inflammatory marker. At least for me, gluten caused a lot of inflammation in my body. So I've removed that from my diet as well at this point. And again, I'm just really figuring out a lot of this stuff kind of as I go, because I need to think about optimal performance for myself, right? Because it's fucking really challenging when you can't eat cookies anymore. You can't eat brownies or any of that stuff. It sucks. But you got to get creative in your mindset with a lot of that, because that's really all it is, like I said, when getting diagnosed with all of this stuff, when I said it was the best blessing ever, is when I went through that, when I was like bedridden and I couldn't move. I fortunately know what that feels like. And I know that if I don't control what I consume from a food perspective, I know that that's what it feels like. And I won't go back there ever, because I literally thought I was going to die, you guys. I literally did. That was the scariest moment of my life from my personal health perspective, what was going through that. But I started incorporating exercise and just like with everybody, when I was younger, it was, I just want to lift heavy weights and be bulky and shit. And this isn't a knock on anybody out there who does that, but like again, I wanted to go to functionality, and I look at it as, how am I going to move around at 70 years old if this thing does progress? And again, motion is lotion. So a lot of the workouts that I do are low weight, high rep, and I do a lot of body weight style workouts, and I do a lot of cardio. I personally think, from a stress management perspective and just like the best workout perspective, I think the best thing anybody can do is just go outside for a walk for 45 minutes. Go out for a walk and just enjoy the outdoors. That is my absolute favorite workout in 75 hard, in the Live Hard program, is the 45-minute outdoor workout. I love that. That is my absolute favorite task to complete out there. But again, it's very simple stuff is what I follow. And it's worked out very well for myself. And again, I'm not a doctor. Consult with your physician and everything else. Clark, I'm right there with you. I get my blood work done multiple times a year now. And I think I get it done like at least every quarter, I think is what I have to get it done now. If not more than that. Yeah. But yeah, John, I purposefully waited until, like, I do it over the summers here in Arizona, man. And it's just as hot, man. Like some of the workouts, and I posted them on my Instagram. Like, it was 116 degrees out and I was doing my cardio outside. It's wild, but it's worth it, man. But again, like it's a very simple thing. And I think that, just like with, like, again, I struggle with my weight. I struggled with alcohol. I always thought that there was an easier way to do things, right? It was this fad or that fad, but really it was the most basic, simple things is what I follow now. And I'm at like in the best shape that I've ever been in. I think I'm at like 14% body fat right now. And then I'm at like 186, 187 pounds, I think it was this morning. But I eat a very basic, very simple thing, and I just kind of follow that. And I think that again, it is a lot of, that controlling your controllables. Cause like, I don't like it, but like, I've also, gotten to the point now where working out to me is what I know I have to do to keep my quality of life up. And it was, it did take, that those conversations with my doctor about what I had to realize that, hey, I got to put the bottle down and I got to get my shit in order. That was, it wasn't a rock bottom perspective where I woke up in a fucking hotel room and didn't recall the last 4 days of my life. But it was that moment of like, all right, I got to change everything here. Because, another thing too, when you're self-employed, you guys, until you have employees, your insurance options are pretty limited out there. You can get insurance like health insurance, but like the coverages are insane on what they actually cover compared to what you actually need out there. So, a lot of this stuff is now it's more geared towards how do I not go to the doctor? Because like I have to go every 8 weeks for pretty much the rest of my life for this treatment on this stuff to keep my spine in order and other parts in order with which comes from this. But again, the two biggest takeaways that I got from it is you got to get in like really good shape, you got to keep moving, keep active, and you got to keep your inflammation down. So I'm putting a lot of this out there today. And again, like I didn't take notes or anything. This is just all coming from the heart and everything. I think like A, it's never too late. B, if you are struggling with alcohol or anything like that, you got to talk to somebody because you're not alone in it. And it's never too late to change. Again, I was 37 years old, almost 36 years old when I went and I fully went sober. And that was somebody who damn near drank every single day of their life from 16 to 36 years old. So for those 20 years, you would be hard pressed to find a couple of days where I wasn't drinking at some level, so it was a lot. And you can too. All right. You gotta, it's not too late. And I think like it's one of those things where um, you got to start with one, start with one day, start with one meal, one workout, whatever that is. We all start somewhere. And the people that are out there that are actually doing things are going to cheer for you, right? Because like I don't miss being hungover. I don't miss drinking. I don't miss any of that stuff. I don't miss that part of my life at all. Uh, but I know that it's like it's just that one day at a time thing, and there's so many synergies between getting in shape, getting sober, building a business, building a book of business, all of that. It is just down to your micro actions that most people overlook because everybody wants the instant results right now. But you can work towards all of this stuff, you guys. You can, and you just really when you got it, when you finally decide, like, hey, kind of enough's enough. I'm gonna take control of this. Just focus on the day, and that's why I highly recommend everybody to go out there and find 75 Hard, read the book, do whatever you got to do, listen to the podcast. DM me. I will answer any questions for you guys. And again, this is all based on my experience. I'm not trying to give out any health advice or anything like that, but it is really just one day at a time, you guys. And I'm really starting to realize that the less and less I'm on social media, and then taking that one day a week kind of social media cleanse that I do is I'm like, man, none of the shit that we're worried about actually fucking matters. It really doesn't. There are so much more shit that you guys got to focus on. And the best way to do it is just start with one. If you get anxiety to make a sales call, start with one call. All right. Do that one a day and then double it out from there. And same thing with working out. If you want to start working out again and you don't know how to like what meals to eat, start with one. We all know, clean up one of your meals and start. That's what I did. And again, maybe all of this stuff that I'm talking about is going to take me longer than others, but again, this is my journey. And I'm fully committed to it because this is for me for the rest of my life. And I'm going to continue to talk about the realities of all of this stuff, you guys, because I'm a human being just like everybody else out there. That's why I keep up all my old podcasts, all my old content. I don't take anything down because I'm just a regular dude who's just out here trying to make it. Just like the rest of us, I have my problems just like everybody. I've done and said shit that I, probably shouldn't have at some point in my life and still do to this day. I'm a human being. And I always want that message to come across out here is A, you're not alone. All right. I felt that I was alone for a very long time in a lot of areas of my life, and you're not. So if you're struggling out there right now, if you're just starting out on your journey, out there to kind of get your life back in order and get over a bunch of shit, I'm fucking rooting for you. Okay. We might not talk. Hell, we might not ever meet. We might not ever engage in life. But if you're out there trying to better your life, I'm fucking rooting for you. And I am doing it every single day with you because I am trying to figure all of this out. All right. I'm trying to figure all of this out every single day. And it is a day by day battle that we're all in. And you just got to focus on that and control your controllables. But that's going to be it for today, you guys. We'll be back to your regularly scheduled program for the rest of this week. But again, I just wanted to drop that in for you guys. And as always, if you guys got value in what you heard, subscribe to the show, you guys. Share it out there to your network because if you see value, your network's going to see value as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And we'll be talking to you soon.